to form communities of ideas, to share ideas and experiences, to learn from one another in a very direct way without the big media telling us what to think or what we must know. And I think this phenomenon of the podcast, of direct communication, of small podcasts starting up and sending out their message is a really good thing. And we're in the process of forging, creating, designing, if you like, a new world, and a new way of doing things. It's like when you put a piece of metal into the forge and heat it up, and it melts, and then you have to beat it into shape. That's what's happening now. We're beating into shape a new way for people in society to communicate with one another. And the old way of doing things is a completely broken and failed model. It is not going to be appropriate to the world that we're all going to be living in the years to come.
We won in the Supreme Court that we can use the four-letter word if we want to, because it's called free expression. We won in the court, so get away. Yeah. He tackles me, you know what I mean? And a fight breaks out.
That's crazy.
And then 3 or 4 more other undercovers jumped on. This is all in my major feature film. And I'm down there fighting, and the crowd is standing around. Leave him alone, he's done nothing. I'm talking about hundreds of people. Leave him alone, he's done nothing. Leave him alone, he's done. And so my brother John Seal was with me. Huey got in a fight with another uniform cop, but I hear about that today because I'm down on the ground. And finally, my brother, Asian guy, 2 white hippies, they kicked these other undercovers off of me on the ground, and I got up and I pulled my little knife out. I had a little scout knife in my pocket, yes. And I'm getting, get away, and yellow T-shirt. The undercover cop that first came in charged at me, and I reached out and said, "Get away from me!" And I cut him in his hand.
Get out of here!
Yeah, I cut him in his hand, trying to keep him off of me. Defending myself, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I never knew he was a cop because he's in civilian clothes.
Of course, exactly.
And next thing I know, me and Huey, we all arrested, etc. And I call my wife up. She get me bailed out, and then I get Huey out, and so on, and etc. But, that's our first beef, But the party hadn't even started. The party had not even started. Wherever you are. And then what is the president? Then it requires you to get up and get dressed and take on the day one moment at a time. And when we live in the moment, live in that eye of the needle all the time and surrender, having no agenda, Nick, our life becomes an incredible necklace of pearls. Just wonderful. Every moment is a pearl, a priceless pearl of reality that we experience. And then we let it go because you can't hang on to it. The other day I asked my wife, I said, when does a stepping stone become a stumbling block? Well, it's when you take a step and you go, oh, this is it. I've arrived. This is it, man. This is perfect. And you never take another step. Yeah. Then that's it. You stop growing. You cannot receive the next pearl until you let go of the last one you received.
Miss Cindy Sheehan, and Cindy Sheehan, governor candidacy, running for California's governorship. What will you bring to the governor? Platform. I guess the whole power all the power that you will have. What will you do to move California?
Well, like you said, I'm working class. I'm working poor class, and my family has and is still, we struggle on a daily basis just to survive in this capitalist society. I've before worked 3 jobs at one time so we could have health care. My son was killed by the empire, by this cruel system that we live in, where the wealthy benefit and the poor die for their sakes, right? And so 6 million Californians live in poverty right now. 1/3 of that 6 million are children. Education's being decimated and being privatized. The prisons in California are overcrowded. Governor Jerry Brown has been ordered to release prisoners because of the overcrowding. Instead of doing that, he is renting beds from private prisons for profit. And it's just, I mean, the energy situation that we're in that is destroying the universe, destroying the environment. California could lead the way, of course, in wind, solar, and other renewable forms of energy. Jerry Brown is big on solar energy, big on fossil fuels. He gets a lot of money from Occidental Petroleum, which is a big fossil fuel company, of course. And so what I bring is an understanding of the struggle. I am the people. I'm not removed from the people like Jerry Brown and other politicians are. They're part of the 1%. They're part of the ruling class. They don't understand what we go through on a daily basis. And I was born and raised in California. I know that we can educate people. We can provide a social safety net and good jobs with a living wage, not a minimum wage.
Like Washington and Colorado, and I hesitate to say Washington because that's what is going on there is hardly legal. I don't see how you can have legal when they have DUID, driving under influence of drugs, and also no home cultivation.
Wow.
It's fake legal. It's fake legal. And it was done by this person, Alice Holcomb, who they want to drag around to do initiatives all over. And she's from the ACLU. She's like a sociologist type, do-gooder type. I'm not saying she is a sociologist, but that's the thing. Like she asked all the stakeholders, the cops, the prosecutors, this group, that group, the sociologists, the psychologists, never asked users what was important to them, and then it got voted. That's Washington Initiative. Colorado Initiative, done by this fellow, I forget his first name, his last name is Tavert, is so incredibly different and so much better, much, much better.
Audience, to get a clear understanding of this, what is that experience like? Does it last long? Things like that.
When you talk to spiritual practitioners, people who use ayahuasca in ceremonial or spiritual contexts, and then also if you talk to Western psychiatrists, researchers, physicians who also work with ayahuasca to treat addictions and PTSD and other illnesses, what we find is that it's always ayahuasca in combination with a larger context or setting that really seems to make the largest difference. So when we talk about the ayahuasca experience and the kinds of changes that it can facilitate, we're asking, okay, what's happening before the ayahuasca is taken, what is happening during the experience, and what is happening after. So ayahuasca itself, it contains the chemical DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is a very, very potent, one of the most powerful psychedelics that acts very, very strongly on the central nervous system and precipitates very, very profound changes in sensory awareness and consciousness lasting many, many hours. But then the larger experience is often that people are in a retreat setting, or they're doing other forms of body work, yoga, therapy, meditation, to supplement that transcendent or psychedelic experience that they have with the ayahuasca.
That it's not just one guy talking about it or 10 guys talking about it. I didn't even put in maybe half the clips of people referring to a new world order in one way or another. And not only you get that kind of history lesson, and then you get the kind of history lesson on globalist organizations that have kind of tried to, quote unquote, unify the world under global governance. And then the way that they've been able to do this, the small sections. But you get, again, even at the credits of the movie, dozens of people, including Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, Bill Richardson, all these people just talk New World Order, New World Order, New World Order.
It's crazy.
And it kind of takes away the stigma now of this term and the idea that every time it's mentioned and somebody pounces upon it in the alternative media, we should immediately be dismissed. In fact, it kind of goes to the fact like, wow, this is really happening. When Joe Biden calls for a new world order less than 6 months ago, a few eyebrows were raised. But, Joey B, as I like to call him, he was in Invisible Empire twice talking about the new world order, including his I believe it was his article in the Wall Street Journal in the late 80s called How I Learned to Love the New World Order. And then him at a Senate committee meeting with James Baker, and I'm pretty sure Madeleine Albright might have been on that panel discussing, I believe, China's place in the New World Order.
Ben Awoken, what was that like, man? What was it like winning Grammys for your work?
Well, so far, at least within the music world, like the Grammys is one of the, the pinnacles of recognition and success, and for being a musician. And it's something that I always dreamt about. Every year I pretty much watch the Grammys and look at the artists with admiration about the ones that have won, and so on and so forth, the ones performing, and even the ones nominated. And so, for us, especially for our first album, to even be considered to win a Grammy and to be nominated was just overwhelming. It was one of those dreams come true moments, and for us to actually win took it to a whole other place. And I share about that in the book, What is Success? And I share a lot of intimate stories about things that I went through in my life. And anybody that's interested, it's really some outer body type of stuff and fly in the wall type of stories that I share in that book. And so I really encourage you to check it out. But to win was just really, truly an amazing dream come true. And then our next album, called Zingalama Dooney, it got nominated again for a Grammy as well. And
amazing album.
Thank you. And it's just outrageous just to see your work and appreciate it. It's really a great thing.
That's the word I would use too. It's like outrageous. It's like, whoa.
I hung out with we had the same agent, and Allman Brothers and I did a lot of shows together. Me going out with a guitar and a bass player, opening for the Allman Brothers. Can you imagine? And people loved it.
Awesome. That's why, everybody, John Edwards, Subjective Perspective Show, you have an American icon here. Okay, so when you were playing with all these guys, how old were you?
You hear that, honey? I'm an American icon.
You are, John. I tell you.
A little respect. How about a little respect over here?
A little Dangerfield out in Babylon, Long Island. I like it. John, how old were you when all this, unfolded with, I guess, the fame of Sunshine? How old were you?
I was 21, 22 when Sunshine was, when I was following that all over the country and all over the charts, doing 250 shows a year for 4 years.
Wow. What's that like? What's it like? Because you went from, not being famous to having all this fame. What does that do to a person? Like, what does that do to you?
Well, for me, I made a conscious decision to not change. The world around me was changing overnight, rapidly. Everything was completely different, turned upside down, literally. When a disc jockey decided he would play Sunshine off my first album, and the world changed literally in that summer, and wow. I made up my mind I was not going to change. I loved what I was doing. I loved the people I was with. I loved working out on the road. It wasn't working for me. It still isn't, but I loved playing for people, and I wasn't going to change, and so I didn't take advantage really of a lot of the gifts that were offered to me during that time. I just wanted to continue doing what I was doing, which was playing music with my friends, and I'm still doing it and loving every minute of it.
guys, Mike Bone, a beautiful weekend. All of your crew that you're chilling with out in Oklahoma City, give them our love from the Bay Area of California, and all the boys out in Brooklyn and the girls out in Brooklyn and the Bay Area. And you know, let's just keep on shining this light, because it's people like you. It's the good people that come together. And you guys were humble and kind enough to come on and share your time with our audience. We're the people that'll make a difference, and with everyone listening in, they are us, we are them, and I think in the words of Mike Bone, there's something bigger going on, so follow the love.
Hey, this has been the Subjective Perspective Show featuring your boys Lil Mike and Funny Bone. Yeah, holla at your boys, man. Stay blessed, stay
Thank
native.
you, boys. Oh, you heard it here. Everybody, this is your boys Bud and Roach going into a little promo. Peace, my boys.
Yeah.
This is Zoe Taylor. And this is Alex Montanez. Tune in tonight and every Monday night at 8 p.m. for the Bud and Roach Show. Uncensored talk radio. Starts at 8 p.m. sharp Eastern Time. And if you missed the live show, download the podcast. Available exclusively at www.budandroach.com. And what do you think of that, kids?